students. Welcome to the lecture on Global Trade Operations and Supply Network Applications. And after this lecture, we will be able to learn the following objectives. Discuss the operations strategy, define multi-domestic operations strategy, describe transnational business strategy, explain sourcing strategies and the procurement processes, discuss internal strategy for the role of the purchasing process, describe supplier relationship management. Let's start with the introduction of global trade operations and supply network applications. We live in a world that is highly interconnected by a bewildering array of complex economic transactions, social and environmental problems, and international political collaborations and conflicts. Examples from global economics are found in the news every day. A decision by American policymakers to subsidize the product of ethanol, a form of gasoline containing an additive produced from corn, is seen by many as a key reason that grain prices are high around the world. The spectacular emergence of China as a major exporter of manufactured goods has affected wages in both rich and poor countries. As large corporations such as Microsoft, Intel, Toyota, General Electric, and Siemens have expanded their investments in affiliates in many nations around the world, they have built global production networks that share technological knowledge across locations to produce increasingly complex goods that could be sold anywhere. Today, a major cultural product such as a Hollywood movie or a jazz band's latest compact disc is likely to employ creative personnel from around the world with various components of the product recorded, mixed, or edited in different locations. Let us now discuss the operations strategy. In some ways, the very term operations strategy sounds like a contradiction in terms. An operation is, after all, about the day-to-day creation and delivery of products and services. So, how can it be strategic? In fact, the issue is one of distinguishing between two words which are similar but have different meanings. These are operations and operational. An operation refers to those parts of the business which are concerned with producing products and services. Operational is the opposite of strategic in the sense that it means short-term and limited in its influence. Other functions of the business, such as marketing or finance, have both strategic and operational activities. For example, marketing strategy covers the overall long-term approach to how the organization wants to position itself in the markets. Top-down versus bottom-up perspectives of operations strategy. One view of operations strategy is one of the several functional strategies which are governed by decisions taken at the top of the organizational tree. Market requirements versus operations resources. To propose another apparent clash of perspectives, that which is between market requirements and operations resources. The market requirements perspective starts from the common sense notion that any operations strategy should reflect what the organization is trying to do in its markets. Companies compete in different ways. Some may compete primarily on cost, while others on the excellence of their products or services, and others on high levels of customer service, and yet others on customizing their products and services to individual customer needs, and so on. Now we will study the multi-domestic operations strategy. The term multi-domestic has been used to describe a set of strategies used by companies that operate in more than one country at a time. As smaller businesses expand their operations into markets overseas, they will naturally tend to act differently than their larger competitors, many of them choosing a multi-domestic strategy. Competitive advantage. When considering an expansion into a new market, it makes sense for any firm to choose a region where it already has a competitive advantage. If a business is able to offer a product or a service no one else is already providing, It will have a high chance of success. Decentralized. A multi-domestic company is more decentralized, and it allows the management in each country to operate with some degree of autonomy and to adopt differing practices from one another. Because of this, multi-domestic companies are supposed to be more flexible and capable of adjusting to different business environments. Smaller companies are less able to coordinate the actions of their separate departments due to their limited resources, and so decentralization is also often a matter of necessity. Multi-domestic versus global strategic plans. In the modern global world of business, it is increasingly important for firms to have a worldwide presence. This can be achieved with either a global strategy or a multi-domestic strategy. Although both strategies are international, they have distinct differences. International managers should understand these two international strategies and how they can be used. Global business strategy. A firm employing a global business strategy operates in several markets around the world, but offers the same product or service with only minor changes in the local market. Multi-domestic business strategy. Firms employing a multi-domestic business strategy operate worldwide, but in a very different manner than global firms. Multi-domestic firms are highly decentralized, with strategies and decisions being made large in the local market. Advantages. The advantage of a global strategy is that it allows for greater efficiency. Disadvantages. Firms using global strategy may find themselves at a disadvantage because they do not understand local needs. Let's now talk about the transnational business strategy. A transnational business conducts operations in several countries with varying degrees of coordination and integration of strategy and operations, according to Newcastle Business School professor George Stonehouse and his colleagues. A transnational strategy combines global reach, coordination of operations, and leveraging unique advantages of local markets to drive sales, market share, and profit growth. Basics. Transnational strategy involves operating in different world markets, designing responsive organizational structures, and establishing value-added activities that exploit national similarities and differences. Stonehouse defines transnational strategic management as iterations of organizational learning and performance improvements. The foundation of a transnational strategy is a global vision, but with customized implementations for local markets and regions. Country environment. The country environment is an important aspect of transnational strategy. In a March 2007 interview with Harvard Business School working knowledge writer Sean Silverthorne and Harvard professor Richard H.K. Victor suggest that countries with a sound fiscal and monetary environment, secure property rights, and anti-corruption policies attract transnational companies. Operational procurement planning. The ultimate goal of procurement planning is a coordinated and integrated action to fulfill a need for goods, services, or works in a timely manner and at a reasonable cost. Early and accurate planning is essential to avoid last-minute emergency or ill-planned procurement, which is contrary to open, efficient, and effective, and consequently transparent procurement. Advanced identification of suitable suppliers of potential products frequently requested in emergency operations, including confirmation by suppliers on willingness to respond on short notice. Development of standard specifications, TORSOW, for products, services, works requested in emergency operations. Good procurement planning is essential to optimize the contribution of the procurement function toward achieving the overall goals of the operation. Procurement function is considered to be a strategic initiative and seen to be adding value to entire business process. Profile of the procurement managers has changed, and expectations from these managers are different.
During the first phase, we investigate the different options for sourcing modes. The three elements, location, ownership, and management style, are plotted in our global sourcing strategy model. This results in 8 different sourcing modes. We work with you to identify the appropriate sourcing modes for your specific situation. The next phase is to plan the scenarios. We use matching business cases to find the most beneficial sourcing mode. When the right sourcing mode has been selected, your organization must be prepared for implementation. During this phase, we support you in selecting the right service provider or help you to set up your own shared service center. We prepare your organization for the shift of workload that will follow. During the migration or transition phase, the governance model must be aligned. Critical knowledge and experience must be captured. This phase is also the time to train your organization for the new situation. In addition, service levels and key performance indicators will be defined. In the delivery or operations phase, it is important to continuously monitor, control, and manage both the service provider and the demand organization. By doing this, we ensure that both short and long-term benefits accrue. Organizations change. Environments change as well. After selecting and implementing the right sourcing mode, it is essential to continuously evaluate and adapt your chosen sourcing strategy.
Modern-day procurement managers manage procurement and sourcing function both at the strategic and operational levels. They are proactively engaged in building supplier networks, estimating, controlling and reducing costs besides performing other functions and ensuring service levels. Their job functions are increasingly becoming cross-functional together with supply and manufacturing functions. Procurement process and paperwork is today managed by the ERP systems which drive the procurement process. Procurement function. Procurement function, as explained above, is one part of the sourcing function. In an ERP-enabled environment, procurement function consists of a detailed indenting process, procurement budget management, purchase order release, shipment schedule planning with seller, coupled with ensuring compliance with documentation and system updating processes. All these processes are driven by ERP. Procurement process and sourcing strategy. Though interlinked closely, both the procurement process and sourcing strategy are not one and the same. Sourcing strategy deals with planning, designing, and building a reliable and competitive supplier base, determining the strategy for procurement, defining pricing strategies, and supply chain requirements. The strategy involves integration of its objectives in line with or conforming to the objectives of stakeholders in operations, finance, marketing, and distribution. Shift in sourcing strategic approach. Having realized that suppliers play a key important role in the supply chain network of the business, there has been a change in every way organizations perceive and approach supplier relationships. Several factors have contributed to the shifting of the perceived value of supplier partnerships. Complex business models at global scales coupled with market demands have necessitated companies to set up manufacturing or assembly facilities closer to markets as well as in locations where conversion costs are relatively cheaper. This necessitates that the business be supported by a solid vendor base which is able to ensure supplies at all locations. Importance of strategic sourcing skills. Strategic sourcing skills play an important role in the cost structure and competitiveness of small and large businesses. These skills involve analyzing high-volume purchases and developing long-term partnerships with a select group of suppliers that are capable of providing quality products and services at low costs. High-volume purchases are the best candidates for strategic sourcing because they are likely to have the greatest impact on lowering cost structures. Cost management. Strategic sourcing benefits both buyers and suppliers. It benefits buyers because they can negotiate lower unit prices for high-volume purchases, thus reducing the cost of goods sold and maintaining the ability to price their products competitively. Supply stability. Strategic sourcing can help build stable supply partnerships. For example, restaurants rely on their suppliers for key ingredients, such as meat and produce, because a disruption in the quality or quantity of these supplies could affect their ability to serve customers. Close relationships can also lead to quality improvements over time because suppliers and customers can work together to measure defect rates and identify the root causes of these defects. Strategic sourcing may lead to supplier consolidation. For example, a retailer can consolidate all of its clothing purchases from one supplier instead of using several suppliers for different brands. Risk management. Strategic sourcing can help in risk management. Close supplier relationships can help companies identify and resolve potential problems quickly. For example, if a strategic supplier is having cash flow problems, its main customer may advance some working capital to allow it to continue its operations. Let us now discuss the internal strategy for the role of purchasing process. Corporate strategy and structure. The traditional commercial business goal, put most simply, is to make money for our owners. How businesses go about doing that is where they differ. Most large companies will have a vision and or a mission statement and one or more goals. These define in what market or markets the organization will operate in and how it will go about differentiating itself from its competitors. They also help the organization priorities in its limited resources. There are many dimensions in which a company may choose to compete depending on what they perceive to be the factors most important to the customer base or market they are targeting. It is not possible to excel at all of them at the same time. Some will focus on being the cheapest. Others, however, will focus on quality, innovation, reliability, responsiveness, or growth. Such strategies require quite different management and investment approaches in provision of resources, skills, capacity, and planning. These need to be matched by the choice of external resources, which is the responsibility of procurement. Similarly, the approaches taken within the public sector may differ as they can be driven by specific legislative requirements and regulations. Organizations can also vary in terms of their culture and values. The role of procurement. While there are many definitions of procurement and purchasing, in a simple phrase, procurement is the profession of external resource management. It is about ensuring the organization maximizes the value it gains from the resources it needs, which are outside its direct ownership and control. To quote CIPSA again, Working both upstream and downstream of the purchase decision, a professional buyer can facilitate the business process, help capture the business benefits of the project, protect the business from risk, and reduce lifetime costs. Procurement Strategies. Research undertaken by the Aberdeen Group in the USA, the CPO's Agenda, March 2005, identified 5 primary strategies that procurement leaders are adopting to move from a focus on cost containment to one of value generation. These strategies were: 1. Improve supplier development and collaboration. 2. Enhance and integrate procurement automation infrastructure. In today's competitive marketplace, companies must focus scarce resources on the strategies most likely to yield success to their organization. Supplier relationships have become increasingly important in ensuring this success. At a time when many organizations are turning to outsourcing to save money, the quality of your relationships with these suppliers can have a critical impact on the success of your company. Supplier Relationship Management, SRM, a subset of supply chain management, is concerned with understanding who your most important suppliers are and how you can focus your time and energy on creating and maintaining more effective strategic relationships with them. An effective SRM solution contains essential components such as ranking, rating, and optimization that allow you to reduce your supply base and reduce your overall costs. Ultimately, an effective SRM solution gives your organization a competitive edge by allowing you to: 1. Redirect and indirect costs and improve bottom line profitability. 2. Understand what you are buying and from whom. 3. Minimize the risk of supply chain disruptions. The Supplier Intelligence Advantage. Through an integrated set of data management and analytical applications, SAS SRM helps you leverage the investment you've already made in operational systems and applications by adding a layer of intelligence you cannot get anywhere else. This supplier intelligence helps your organization turn existing purchasing data that is often difficult to access into meaningful information you can use strategically in procurement activities. Different information for different levels of your organization. Throughout your procurement organization, different people require different information to do their job effectively. A CPO needs performance measures to obtain a company-wide view of procurement activities and their outcomes. A purchasing director or manager needs information on which to base strategic decisions, and a commodity manager needs day-to-day analysis to flag potential problems that may prevent the achievement of goals and objectives. Explore strategic opportunities. SAS analytical strengths in forecasting, quality assurance, and data mining allows you to go beyond surface assessments to maximize the return on your supplier and commodity strategies through capabilities such as ranking. Ranking lets you establish an objective, a repeatable and adaptable measuring system that reliably identifies the best suppliers for your organization and responds effectively to changing business conditions. Supplier Monitoring. Using SAS SRM, procurement professionals can monitor key supplier criteria that are relevant to your commodity team, company, or industry. Now, in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. The operational side of marketing refers to the day-by-day tactics of how to manage things like advertising, analyzing and evaluating the client's current financial status. If a business is able to offer a product or service no one else is already providing, it will have a high chance of success. A firm employing a global business strategy operates in several markets around the world, but offers the same product or service with only minor changes in the local market. Procurement function is considered to be a strategic initiative and seen to be adding value to the entire business process. An effective SRM solution is an information system that provides supplier intelligence through an enterprise-wide integrated view of a company's relationships with its suppliers and the commodities or services they provide.